Ty Bartell in with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time we head to our friends over in Newton Falls territory with home of the Tigers with their head volleyball coach, Kristina Baker, joining me today. Coach Baker, how are we doing today?
I'm doing good. Another great day. It's sunny outside, ready to get started.
I know, and you're talking to me a little bit about the schedule you always have to put together, and it's a busy time of the year getting prepped for volleyball season. What's that looking like right now? What's the process been looking like as we gear up for the season?
It's been busy. We have a short amount of time that we have to get ready for the season before we have our first game. Scheduling scrimmages. They just changed up our scrimmage schedule a little bit. We were allowed to add another scrimmage in there, so it was nice to get some more playing time. We've been real busy. We've already had 4 scrimmages, I believe, so far. I've lost counts in the last few days here, but just getting ready for a game next week and chugging along one day at a time.
When you talk about the scrimmages that you've had and the practices that you've had, what stood out about your girls this year too? What have you noticed, and what are some names maybe we should get used to for this season?
Well, I got 3 starting seniors coming back this year. Looking for Peyton Murphy really to step it up for us on defense in the back row. Of course, we got Lily Sate, who's been a middle hitter up there for us, starting for the last. This will be her 4th year starting varsity for us. So she's been a mainstay for us up in the front row as a hitter and a blocker. We also have Logan Elliott coming back this season. We lost her last season due to an injury, so getting her back this year is big for us on the outside. I think they've shown some great leadership in the gym so far, bringing this team along with us. We've got some young faces coming up. We still have a big junior class that I'm fitting some people into some spots that we needed. Some returning juniors from last year. I have Hannah Wright coming back as another middle hitter. Carson Gazda and Maddie Knight also filled in for us on defense last year, and they're coming back. So those are some big names that we'll have returning with a lot of experience coming in. And we had Jada Blucher, who is one of our sophomores that started last year as a freshman. And we're seeing some big things from her this season. It's nice to see them all back in the gym. For some names we have filling in some spots, we have Maddie Davis, Addie Pope, Kate Palesco. Like I said, I got a big junior class. Morgan Kendall coming back this season. So they've been filling in. They know the system. They know where I want them to be. I'm looking at another sophomore also helping us out. And so I'm hoping that, it's a well-rounded group. This year also I have a junior, Tori Fanton, filling in as our setter this year because I lost the senior setter last season, so she's been doing a good job trying to fill in some spots that we needed her to. Last year she played primarily defense for us, so her going into that setter role is one of those. I have a setter that can play really good defense, so last year she was doing some defense and serve receive and helping out Danny, but this year she really needs to step up into that leadership role and leading the team and learning the process of being a varsity setter and what it takes. So it's been a fun group.
It felt like this theme last year too. It was a very scrappy group too. I mean, you guys go 16-9, a really good season by all means. When you talk about that, when you lose a little bit, but you bring back a lot of power hitters too, a lot of stat leaders from last year. What are some things you've been emphasizing in these practices too? I'm sure it's probably you want to build from that 16-9 season, considering what you're returning.
Yes, defense is always my biggest thing that I preach is defense. Our defense makes our offense. Defense starts everything, whether it's serve receive, whether it's just moving on defense. So a lot of those returning defensive people, I'm hoping we can just pick up where we left off last year. And I push defense for everybody, whether they're a middle hitter, whether they're outside hitter, just front row, even our setters. I push defense for everybody, and I strive in us. I think I take pride in our defense. I think, and being scrappy and talking and communication is a big one. I think communication is always an issue, but Tori learning her hitters and our defense talking, Peyton being back there in the back row. I told her you kind of got to direct traffic, and everybody's got to play one point at a time, one play at a time, and whether you're in the front row or the back row, I expect everybody to play good defense to get us started. And I like front row hitters and back row hitters too. So the offense has got to finish it, but the defense has got to get it started.
You obviously were pretty competitive last year in the conference. It's always a gauntlet of a conference to get through too. Talk to me about what you guys see in the conference this year too, and how you guys are going to try to be competitive again in that very top MVAC gray side.
Well, I think for the most part, coming into we do have a very tough conference, and I think, every night you got to bring it. You got to be ready to play every single night. And we're bringing Southeast into the mix also. And I know Southeast, we've played them the last few years. We always have competitive games with them. They have a very strong program. I mean, everybody knows Coach Tarka from Southeast. She was actually my coach in high school, so I'm very familiar
Small
with her.
world.
So, having Southeast in there too, along with Garrettsville and Crestview and LeBray and Brookfield and everybody else. I mean, I think we're all very competitive and we're going to compete every single night, with LeBray and Brookfield and those teams that we've had in our league in the past. I think we have a history that, we're going to battle it out when we step on the court.
Looking at your team this year, I mean, just preview the schedule outside of the conference too. Some matchups you're excited to test your girls with.
Well, we had Maplewood added on there, and I know they've had some competitive teams in the past. We played that or saw them play actually a few years ago back in the D4 conference. I think they were pretty high seeded and had some decent teams. We also added Salem on there this year, so I know in the past they've had some very competitive teams. I think it's good for us to see those different teams. I mean, you get a taste for what it's like outside of our conference, because you get used to playing the same people every year and everything. So I think we have some strong competition that's going to come in and we'll be able to compete with.
I want to talk a little bit about your history in volleyball. You talked about Tarka being your coach too, and we already know she's been there for years too. She's one of the legends, like you said, in the game. What inspired you though to want to be a coach and you yourself give back to the game and give back to the youth too coming up?
Well, when I was in high school, I played volleyball, basketball, softball, and I was doing stuff all year long. And I loved playing. I loved competing. Getting into coaching was my way of competing without, maybe getting up there a little older than I want to be or I'm able to compete anymore. When I stopped playing sand volleyball and doing all that softball stuff, this was a way for me to get out there and compete. And I want the youth and the younger girls to understand, what it's like to go out and have fun, enjoy the game, learn the game, and learn how to compete and have fun playing the game. I think is the most part. I think, I talked to a lot of coaches and the decrease in numbers and athletics all around. My husband coaches girls basketball. I've coached softball here. So I see there's not as much interest in girls getting out and playing sports. And we play and practice and work just as hard as the boys do. And they deserve to get out there and show what they've got and get people involved in it as much as we can. I have some junior high coaches that, they get excited about coming in. They've played volleyball before and everything, and they want to encourage that in their group. And coming up, I think I want them to, portray what I'm expecting when they come up into the high school. And I've had some former players that have been down there also. And when you see former players going out and coaching and getting girls involved and getting excited about it, then that promotes the other girls to get involved as well, and the younger girls.
In your experience with coaching, what's one of the biggest things you've learned from then to now, from maybe the starting point to now?
Well, I'm going into my 19th season here, and I would say it's just, a different mentality in the girls, a different excitement level. It's a different generation than what you're used to. When I first started, there wasn't cell phones practically attached to their hip all the time, and you didn't have to really, do something to get the girls excited about the sport as much as you do now. I feel like you have to keep them interested, and keep them engaged all the time.
What have been some of your keys to try to find that engagement too? Because I mean, you said you guys have a decent numbers. It's hard, obviously, with decreasing numbers, but you guys are still able to field a team, and that's always excellent. What do you do to try to keep those girls engaged too, and keep them interested in the sport?
I think at the high school level, I try to do something, they're not expecting at practice or maybe at a game. I know I'm not the most, I'm probably a pretty unorthodox coach out there compared to other people. I like to show them that I'm excited for them to be there and to play also. And I have a lot of girls, they come in and on game day and they're like, are you ready today, Coach K? Are you ready for the game? And I tell them, I'm always ready. I try to be excited about practice or do some special game or team building activity at practice that's going to keep them off guard or keep them engaged in what we're doing. And I think when they're successful, I think it's not always about winning and losing, but if we go out and compete and play hard and you can tell me that you gave everything you had that night, then you're going to feel good about yourself and promoting that confidence. And women these days and the girls, feeling good about themselves being out there and what they're able to accomplish. This is where you started when you're in junior high or when you're a freshman, and look how far you've come. And I want them to be proud of that.
You mentioned your tenure with Newton Falls too, and I mean the Baker name is pretty synonymous with girls athletics at Newton Falls. What keeps you coming back year in and year out to Newton Falls specifically? What is it about the school that has your heart?
It's kind of a very close knit community. You kind of feel like everybody knows your name out on the street, and the girls know everybody, and people keep coming back. We have a lot of alumni that come back to watch games. It's a very close knit community, and you feel like everybody's involved here, whether it's just in the school and the other, the girls' soccer team is very supportive of the girls' volleyball team or stuff like that. I feel like it's a very close knit community, and everybody just celebrates each other here.
I want to give you a chance to shout out the rest of your coaching staff and some other big names in the volleyball program that you want to shout out and you feel deserve a little bit of recognition.
The biggest one is my husband. I couldn't be here without him and his support and doing everything he does. The administration who has given us both, this opportunity to be here every day with the girls and, the girls in general too, and the parents that have supported us through the years. We've seen a lot of girls come through and a lot of parents. And I mean, we've had girls that have had sisters that have been part of the program for 10, 12 years altogether. So their continued support and everything, because, even after they've been gone, they've contacted us and been like, hey, what you've said has really impacted us, or we want to know how everybody's doing. So I think that's the biggest thing, those closer people. I've also had a couple of players that have come back and been very supportive. Lindsay Brockway, she has always, I think I had her as a freshman the second year I coached, and she's always come back and been like, hey, whatever you need me to do to help out. And she's been a part of the program, and it's good for the girls to see that younger person that has been part of the program to come in and help out. Madison Spollinger and her sister Atlanta have been a part of the program for a long time, and their family in general has been a big supporter of girls athletics, whether it was junior high and high school also. So I think just everybody in the community and everything they have to say and their support. And I think girls athletics here have come a long way since when I first started, and girls in general have come a long way since I first started in their confidence and being proud of what they have to offer to the school and the community as a whole.
Well, you've been a big name and a big driving force behind all of that change and all of that growth that we've seen throughout Newton Falls girls athletics, no doubt. Coach, to put a bow on this whole thing, let's shout out your first game, call out the community, even though I know they're going to be there in support of you guys, but let them know your first game. I believe it's a home game as well, too, so it's pretty soon.
Yes, we are playing Monday against Lordstown. It's a home game, so, a lot of local people. We'd like to have a big group here and as much support as we can. The girls would love it. I know they're excited just to play our first game and get everybody in here and ready to go.
Less than a week, folks. Less than a week. This upcoming Monday. Get out there and support, too. Newton Falls looking to have another winning season under the 10-year coaching of Coach Kristina Baker. Thank you so much, Coach, for taking the time out of your day to chat a little bit about your team, too. We wish you the best of luck this season. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again real soon.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.